Supernatural Season 14, Episode 2, Gods and Monsters. So this episode was definitely entertaining. I'm super curious with the way they ended it, because I think I mentioned in my premiere review that I did watch an interview where it was referenced, like, we're going to get a bit more of Angel Dean compared to what we got of Demon Dean. So I'm curious if what they're doing right now, of course, is going to just end up being Michael pretending to be Dean, which they kind of tease in the promo where he's like, I can't remember this and that. So if that happened, I would assume it would be just like with Nick, where if Cass goes through their goes through their head, they'll know, he'll know if Lucifer's there or if Michael's there. So it's interesting to see that, where it's like, all right, so if Michael left, he's in someone else's body if he's actually gone, which I don't know. They always add some new element of lore or something like that, where somehow Cass can't feel somebody. We still don't really know what the F is going on with Nick, but with the way things are kind of playing out here, I would assume that Michael is actually gone. He found someone else for like a little bit of time, and then he'll end up coming back to Dean, which I think would be a cool element if they add some bit of lore where it turns out that whatever Michael was doing, he was able to basically like almost put like a tracker on Dean, where he could just be like, boom, I'm back in his body. I think that would actually be a super cool element, and where he can get back into Dean no matter what, and he finds his way back. So I think that would be cool. And if that's not the case, then I'm super curious what the heck they're going to do with Michael and where he's at now, what he's going to do. Because, like I said, it's literally been 2 episodes, which is funny. It's one less episode than Demon Dean. So I assume it'll come back somewhere in the season. It might be a few episodes. I don't know if they're going to have it like, it's back to good old Sam and Dean. And then, like, mid-season finale is like, boom, Michael's back. And it's Dean, or Michael is Dean, for the second half of the whole season. I think that'll be cool. Personally, I don't know how I want it to play out, but I don't want to wait too long, because the longer they have it where Michael is not inside of Dean, the longer I'm gonna be like, are they really gonna give us what we want to see? So I'm super worried about it, solely based on the fact that they did it with the Demon Dean. It was like a huge deal, and it was like, 3 episodes and it was legitimately done. So I am a bit worried. Because they've done it to us before, even though I heard that it's supposed to be longer. So I think Michael's going to end up coming back, and somehow he's going to, take Dean back, or he could be so insanely powerful that Cass can't even realize it. So, some element like that. And if that is the case, if they say that, where it's like, that's revealed, where he was like so powerful that Cass couldn't figure it out, then somehow Lucifer's inside of Nick. Because I don't know what's going on with him, and I know a lot of people had issues with the fact that Nick came back in the last episode, where it's revealed that he's alive, when it's like, how is it that he's able to survive, but Lucifer gets killed and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting. Whatever's going on there, he's still part Lucifer. Like, even if it's actually Nick, him being controlled by Lucifer and having, I guess, Lucifer's brain in in a sense in his body, that's nuts. I mean, it's just leftover residual stuff, and that was like my favorite part of the episode, because it was like a mystery, and it was a creepy mystery, because I'm like, I don't know if it's Lucifer, and then they have Cass check him, and it's like, it's not Lucifer, but it had more effect on your psyche than we expected. So he's going through, and he's trying to figure out what happened to his family, like, who is it that killed his family. And so they have the scene with Cass when he touches him, and he's like, don't, and he snapped his finger. It freaked me out. I was like, what the F was that? And then, of course, at the end of the episode, he kills his old neighbor, because it's like, well, you saw something, but then you changed your story, and so you never helped find the criminal that kind of ruined my family. And then he murders him with a hammer, of course. So it's just like, super crazy. And I don't know if they're going to lead to like this super weird thing where it turns out Nick was already crazy, and he's the one who killed his family. That would be an interesting twist, where it was like, it turns out that he was the one that killed his family the whole time, and then he just didn't realize he did it because he had like a crazy split personality or something. And then, you throw Lucifer on top of that now, and it's like, well, that just makes him an easy killer. So I don't know where in the world that's headed, but that was probably my favorite part. Jack had a really great moment in this episode as well, where he gets to, he goes to visit his grandparents. So that was a nice emotional beat. But they had some really good stories. I was like, man, this episode is actually pretty fun, just watching the characters. Really, when it was like the characters doing their own thing, it was more entertaining, because like the main story where it's like, oh, we know where Dean is now, or Michael, with them going to travel, I was like, that part of the story was really just whatever Michael's doing, which they reveal at the end, the bait wasn't just this simple trap, which in a sense it was, because they fight these, somehow they're werewolves that don't get affected by silver, which I thought was super crazy. Also super weird. I could be wrong. 14 seasons, 14 years. But I don't ever remember werewolves having teeth like that. And I might just be insane and I just never paid attention. But I was like, I don't ever remember their teeth like shooting out of their mouths like that. Because when that first happened, I was like, what monster is she? Because I don't remember her. Like when the woman first like did her teeth like that. And then they were fighting them at the end. They're like, they're werewolves. I was like, I don't remember their teeth ever looking that intense. So I don't know if they just upped the makeup and it was, they're just keeping it like, oh, it's just always been that way. But I'm like, I don't remember that ever being the case. I don't think their teeth ever looked like super crazy. Like they just had the fangs, and then for vampires they had like the extra set of teeth come down as the claws. But I was like, I never remember anything like crazy where it was like teeth like jutting out of their mouths. I was like, I could just be forgetting. I always go with that because I'm like, 14 years, I'm bound to forget. So I just always assume I forgot it. But I'm like, I never remember seeing their teeth look like that. So that might be something new. But they didn't react to it as a new thing because I was like, it would make sense if that was new based on whatever Michael was doing, because we still don't know what he was doing. He was just like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and just killing off werewolves left and right. So I'm like, all right, that's weird. We still don't really know what's happening there. So maybe he figured it out and that's why he left Dean. But still a big mystery, still just up in the air for that one. But I did enjoy that, especially because of the ending where it's like, oh, okay, so is it really him gone or is it actually Michael? But still controlling Dean, and he's letting him take over, and he's like hiding in the back or something weird like that. A lot of questions kind of up in the air. And then of course the weird stuff with Nick where it's like, he's not Lucifer, but he might be Lucifer enough. And, whatever's left over, it might be enough for him to be as bad as Lucifer as far as, actually evil, just no power. So I don't know what in the world's going to happen there, but I'm excited. I love that storyline with Nick for this episode, and I can't wait to see what they do with that. I feel like they're going to actually answer the question. Like by the end of the season, I think we'll find out what happened to Nick's family, because they already teased it where it seems like it's possible it was Lucifer that did it in the first place, because it's like, well, there's a big question here as to why your neighbor from across the street would say, I totally saw this person, I got a pretty good look at him, and then you completely change the story and it's like, it must have been adrenaline that I got a really good look at, and then he just changed the story. So there's something to that. And I was like, was it a Lucifer thing where he wiped his memory, and that's the idea that he gave him, where it's like, I can't remember, it's like I must have been seeing things or something weird like that, and so it was actually Lucifer that did it. Or maybe he was protecting Nick the whole time, which would also be super crazy and weird, because I feel like they would have thrown that in there somehow with a little hint. But I'm like, there's some weird stuff going on. So I think they'll actually answer the question. It'll be like some crazy reveal. So it might end up being Nick somehow. He was already crazy and had a split personality, but there's something going on there, because I'm like, they wouldn't bring that up, and they have Nick come back and he's on the quest for the truth about what happened to his family. So he's gonna go crazy, and we'll probably get the answer, and then I don't know what's gonna happen there. We'll just have to wait and see. But I definitely enjoyed this episode. I think I like this one more than the last one, actually, just based on the weird stuff we got with Nick. Jack's moment was just it was legitimately like a nice, sweet moment. But all the questions that pop up from this episode, like, what are they gonna do with Nick? What's gonna happen with this whole thing where Michael left? Like, why did he leave? What did he figure out that would make him leave? Did he find a better vessel? Is he just, like I said, is he hiding in there? A lot of questions popping up. So kind of keeps me entertained, like trying to figure out what's going to happen next. But all in all, really enjoyed the episode. Curious what is going to be happening. Obviously Michael did figure something out with him being able to create or at least allow for the werewolves to not be affected by silver. So there's something to that. There's definitely something to that. So he found, I don't know why that would be like the key to make him leave, like why he would just jump, leave Dean's vessel. That seems weird to me, that would be like the ultimate thing, and he just takes off. So there's something there. So whatever he found is big, or he's hiding inside Dean, and there's some new extra lore where archangels can actually like be tiny little bits and they can hide. Who knows what'll happen next? But love the episode, of course. We'd love to know what you guys thought about it. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, your least favorite parts about it. And of course, the two big things in this episode, of course, are what in the world is going on with Michael. So I want to know your predictions for that, expectations, why he left. Did he technically leave, or is he hiding somehow inside of Dean where Cass can't find him? And of course, what in the world is going on with Nick? Like, I just would love to know your predictions on that, because honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. I don't know how they would explain it and it works, but it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up being like Nick was the person that killed his family, but he had a split personality, and that could probably throw in the Lucifer thing with him like wiping the memory of the neighbor. Where it's like, oh, this guy's already crazy. I can easily get him because he could kill his own family, and maybe I could, if he felt like he needed to use it, Lucifer could just be like, actually, if I show you, you're the one that did this, so just say yes to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was how it played out, where it turns out Nick was the one that killed his family, but he had a split personality. And then Lucifer was like, oh, gotta clear the memory of the neighbor across the street. So it's like, I got a pretty good look. But at the same time, if he got a good look, he would have known exactly who it was. It was like, it was my neighbor. But I don't know. I feel like they may have hinted at it because of the fact that he killed him with the hammer, but that could have just been like the fact that he knew, like, you're the one who knew that the guy killed my family with a hammer, so that's why he did that. But I'm like, that could be foreshadowing. It could be like that big hint, like, hey, there it is. But I don't know. I would love to know your predictions on those two big points. And of course, what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.